Hello. So in this post, we're again asked for the verbal and non-verbal tools that the intern uses to establish rapport with the clients. I noticed that he's nodding when the clients are speaking and signaling, "Oh, I understand. I get it." I appreciated how he had both hands. He switched them to the armrest at one point, both of them, and it looked very relaxed and confident. I feel like that establishes rapport because it allows the client to trust the therapist or the intern here. I really thought it was great how he included James, who was more silent and reluctant to engage in the beginning and was sort of skeptical by asking, "What do you think? Is the anger getting worse? Like, what do you think about the observations that your wife made? What's your opinion?" I thought that was a good question to engage him without being too intimate right away, sort of just, "What do you think?" I appreciate that he asked both of them, "Is that normal for their son, Jimmy?" I feel like that is a good question to establish a range of the problem and the scope of the problem. I thought it was really good how he not engaged in the conflict and the arguments that the couple had amongst themselves. I'm not sure. No, I am pretty sure that in the long term establishes rapport and trust, instead of like taking sides or trying to get into the argument. And then the following things, I think they challenged the rapport with James in the beginning, but in the long run, I think they are really helpful to establish the rapport with James. When the intern asked James about his experience in the army, I think James was first taken aback and didn't want to talk about that. So he might have felt like, "Oh, I don't want to work with that." But then it switched into, "Oh, it's actually good that I'm talking about my needs and what my experience is as an individual." And that also goes with the Bowen's theory that we've been learning about, that we have these structural, systematic family relationships, but then there is also the emotions that we have as an individual, and to differentiate our feelings from our thoughts. And I think that was helpful for James, because he needs to first identify his own individual feelings and experiences in order to be part of this family in a functioning and healthy way, that lets him solve this dilemma of being authentic and also being able to engage with the others. I thought that one thing that the intern said was that challenged the rapport was when he said, James was reporting he was in a pub, or not even he, his wife said that. And then the intern switched to James and asked him, "You feel drinking helps with that?" And I thought, oh, he's assuming that he's drinking. I know that's likely when you go to a pub, but I felt like that was a little presumptuous, and I feel like that challenged the rapport. Also suggesting individual counseling for James. I would always phrase it when I work with couples, I would always phrase it that that's an option for both couples, so not one is singled out. James received it well, so I don't, it might not have challenged the rapport as much as it did from my perspective. And then lastly, I think it was really great how the intern paused and notice, I feel like you're getting more disconnected here, and like reflecting back to the couple, what's happening between them. Themes that I might have focused more on than the intern. I think I would have focused more on the needs as individuals for both of them. I think that it always helps to not single out one client as the problem client, as they did here. James was in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he has the problems. I think it's really important to also stress what are the needs as an individual for his wife. I would also have focused on the goals as a couple. I think it's always really helpful to establish, okay, we do want to stay together, we do want to be a family. So what do we need to do in order to make that happen? I feel like that it was a little implicit that the family wanted to stay together. And I think it's always really, my experience is always really meaningful to set a explicitly state, we want to be a family and we want to be healthy together, and maybe even do a little psychoeducation on again, I think the Bowen's theory is great, and pointing out that we have our individual needs, and yet there is this dilemma between being authentic in our needs and being part of the family. I think that might have helped this couple and this family to point that out, that that's normal to have this dilemma. Yeah, that's it for me.